2007 Lafayette baseball team was the greatest team that I ever was a part of. And I was fortunate enough to play on some pretty good teams. In 2002, we won the high school Maryland State Championship with Coach Kevin Kelly, who joins us this evening, winningest coach in Howard County history. We played with, yes, please. We played with guys in summer ball, both in high school and in college, who went to all the biggest schools across the country. And none of those teams were quite the same as the 2007 Lafayette team. Some players are just so athletically superior that they make everyone else around them look like they just don't belong. And that 2007 Lafayette baseball team consisted of absolutely zero of that type of player. Instead, what we had was a catcher and a right fielder who ran as hard as they could to back up first base on every single ground ball to the left side their entire careers, even though they only picked up 2 or 3 balls a year. We had pitchers who turned around and talked to their shortstop and said, "Don't worry about that error, let it go. Next one's coming to you." And they said it in such a way that the shortstop knew they really meant it. We had outfielders that would chirp at the umpire when the pitcher didn't get a close call so that the pitcher could stay on the umpire's good side. We had bench players and bullpen guys who would chirp at the umpire when our batters didn't get the close call so that the batters could stay on the umpire's good side. And of course, we had Mr. Tucker, Mr. K-Mine, and Mr. Fugit chirping at the umpire the entire game no matter what happened, so thank you for that. We had guys with 3 stolen bases on the year jumping around at second base like they were Ricky Henderson trying to distract the pitcher. And we had batters who understood that if they could deal with that distraction better than the pitcher could, that was going to lead to 7 or more 8 good pitches to hit per year. Maybe 3 or 4 base knocks, maybe 1 or 2 runs. And if you can get 9 guys on offense that each create 4 or 5 extra bases in a season, doing the things that don't appear on the stat sheet, and if you can get 9 guys on defense preventing 4 or 5 bases per year with hustle and heads-up play, those things add more tallies to the win column than hitting 15 more home runs or striking out 30 more guys ever would. And that doesn't happen by accident. My very first high school baseball varsity start was because our leadoff hitter on a pretty good team decided to skip school and then try and play in the game that afternoon, which would have been an automatic forfeit. By Monday, that guy was off the team, and by the end of the next season, we were state champions. And I'd like to think that's because Coach Kelly knew that the greatest team you can put out there is not the largest aggregate of individual talent. It's the collection of guys that really want to be there and are going to do all the things to get you there. Coach Kinney at Lafayette College was the exact same way. Coach Kinney never ever demanded excellence. What he demanded was effort and accountability, something that I had to learn the hard way once or twice. Junior year, spring break, I was 1 minute late to 2 straight team meetings, got a talking to. We had a 6:30 a.m. bus the next morning, and I missed it. And I didn't play for the rest of spring break. And I'd like to think that's because Coach Kinney knew that for me as a young man, in the long term, it was more important to learn that if I wasn't going to hold myself to the same standard as the guys around me, then I hadn't earned the privilege to be out there. And the type of environment that Coach Kinney created was the type of environment where the slowest guy on the team wasn't embarrassed about running as hard as he could during workouts, even though he knew he was going to finish in last. And the hitters with absolutely no pop, that's me, wasn't embarrassed to be proud of a round of BP hitting 9 straight line drives to the opposite field. And the pitcher throwing 79 wasn't embarrassed to embrace the changeup and throw it even slower instead of trying to become something that he wasn't. And in that type of very intense environment, I can't tell you how valuable it was to have Coach Dura there with a story, a quip, or a question to get everyone's mind off of the mistake that you just made and back onto what was more important. And for me personally, after an 0 for 5 game with 2 strikeouts, I always appreciated being able to call my parents and had my mom say the same thing she always did. It was a joy watching you play today. And have a dad say, what do you mean? 2 strikeouts, that means you made contact 3 times. Good job. You had a great job today. And so the fact that you've chosen to humble me this evening, a guy with 2 wind-blown home runs over 4 seasons, you notice they didn't mention that in the stat readout. What it says to me is that what we really appreciate and remember about sports is not the exquisite individual talent, it's the team. We want to see things we've never seen before. We want to see success. We want to see teams that scrap and get dirty, play hard. We want to see teams that play in between every single pitch and not from at bat to at bat. We want to see teams that do the things that end up in the win column and not in the individual stat sheet. And I think having me up here also speaks a world of the coaches, the mentors, and the Lafayette environment that encourage you to become the best version of yourself instead of something that you're not. I'm humbled. I'm honored. Thank you.